What if I told you that in the vast Egyptian desert, a new city is rising, one designed to replace the oldest capital on Earth? Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's happening. Before we dive into the real reason Egypt is spending $60 billion to abandon Cairo, hit that subscribe button. Because today, we're peeling back the golden facade and revealing the high-stakes gamble that could reshape the future of Egypt forever. Cairo isn't just Egypt's capital, it is a sprawling behemoth that is slowly suffocating under the weight of its own success. A city of over 23 million people, Cairo has transformed from a modest 2.5 million in 1950 to become one of the largest cities on Earth. The rapid growth of the city has come with a high cost, both to its infrastructure and to the quality of life of its residents. The city's neighborhoods, once carefully planned and structured, now expand in a chaotic and haphazard manner. Old crumbling buildings stand alongside newly constructed high-rises, and slums stretch endlessly along the edges of the city, housing the poor and disenfranchised who are being left behind in the rush for urbanization. The streets are constantly clogged with traffic and the air is thick with pollution, choking the life out of those who call this city home. At the heart of this urban chaos lies the Nile River, Egypt's most important natural resource. The river has been both the source of the country's prosperity and its most vulnerable lifeline. But over the years, this dependency on the Nile has become a double-edged sword. Rising populations and dwindling water supplies from upstream nations have made water access increasingly scarce. The once abundant resources of the Nile now seem insufficient to meet the growing demands of Cairo's population. In addition to water shortages, Cairo is facing another debilitating issue: transportation gridlock. Roads that were once designed to accommodate a far smaller population are now overcrowded with cars, buses, and trucks that crawl through the streets in endless congestion. The infamous traffic jams that block Cairo's arteries have become a daily feature of life for its residents. What was once a city that prided itself on its vibrancy and commerce has become a standstill of frustration and wasted time. But it's not just the infrastructure that's breaking down. The administration itself is crumbling under the weight of this overwhelming growth. The city's central business district, where the government ministries and foreign embassies operate, is one of the most gridlocked zones in the country. Bureaucratic inefficiency runs rampant, with problems becoming more complex and intractable as the population swells. Even a simple state visit or large-scale event can bring the city to a halt, further demonstrating how unmanageable Cairo has become. For the Egyptian government, trying to maintain order, foster economic growth, and address the need of its citizens, Cairo has become an almost insurmountable challenge. The population continues to rise, with projections suggesting that by 2050, Cairo will surpass 38 million residents, making it one of the most crowded cities on the planet, second only to Mumbai. This unchecked urbanization has led to the collapse of vital systems, leaving Cairo in a state of crisis. The city, which has been the epicenter of Egyptian life for thousands of years, now teeters on the edge of unmanageable chaos. It is a city that has borne witness to centuries of history, but whether it can continue to thrive in the face of this modern-day catastrophe is uncertain. Something, in fact, has to give. The city may soon find itself at a crossroads, with its future hanging in the balance. In 2015, the Egyptian housing minister made an announcement that reverberated across the globe. Egypt would be building an entirely new administrative capital, one that would rise from the desert and stand as a testament to the nation's ambitions for a brighter future. This announcement was not just another governmental promise, it was a vision of national renewal, an audacious plan to shift the axis of Egyptian power away from the crumbling metropolis of Cairo and into a new, futuristic urban center. Located in the barren stretch of desert to the east of Cairo, the new city would be home to up to 6.5 million people, making it not just a new city, but a completely new ecosystem. The design included 21 residential districts, each thoughtfully planned to cater to specific demographics and industries. There would be ministries, embassies, a brand new parliament building, and even an international airport to bolster Egypt's global presence. Towering above all, a colossal skyscraper would proudly hold the title of Africa's tallest building, becoming a symbol of Egypt's ambition. The price tag? A staggering $45 billion. This was not just a construction project, it was an investment in Egypt's future, an attempt to alleviate the crippling congestion of Cairo, whose aging infrastructure had long been stretched beyond capacity. The vision of this new city was to decentralize government, relieve pressure from Cairo's overcrowded streets, and usher in an era of progress. It would be a city of the future, technologically advanced and primed to handle the demands of the 21st century. As the announcement made waves across international media, many wondered, could such an audacious vision be realized? The plan seemed too ambitious, too bold, even for a country with Egypt's rich history of grand architectural projects. But in a country defined by its ancient monuments, pyramids, temples, and the mighty Sphinx, could such an undertaking truly be called impossible? The announcement marked the beginning of a new chapter in Egypt's long history, one that would either redefine the nation or fail under the weight of its own enormity. This was civilization-scale surgery, the reshaping of an entire country's heart, moving its political pulse from the Nile's crowded banks to a barren stretch of desert. Yet, as the project began to take shape, there were whispers of challenges, risks, and doubts. Would the dream of this new city truly become reality, or would it become just another ambitious scheme lost to the sands of time? The new administrative capital, as it's come to be known, though it remains nameless in official circles, is nothing short of a marvel in both scope and ambition. Even before it has fully blossomed, the project is already one of the largest construction undertakings the Middle East has ever seen. The city is being built in phases, each one more ambitious than the last, as it rises from the parched earth of the desert, slowly but steadily, like a modern-day Atlantis. At its core, the city is a hub of unparalleled ambition. The iconic tower, Africa's tallest building, stands as the crowning jewel of the skyline. Its 77 stories meant to symbolize Egypt's leadership in Africa and the Arab world. The tower is more than just an architectural wonder, it is a message to the world that Egypt is stepping into a new era of global prominence. Nearby, the Octagon, the world's largest defense headquarters, stands as a fortress of both security and symbolism. It's a mammoth structure that underscores Egypt's determination to remain a key player in regional and global affairs, housing not only the country's military but also its intelligence agencies, ensuring that national security is woven into the very fabric of the city. Next, a grand mosque, sprawling over 19,000 square meters, is being built as a place of spiritual reflection and national pride. The mosque will be a shining example of Islamic architecture, a beacon that draws millions of worshippers and visitors from around the world, reaffirming Egypt's place at the crossroads of religion and history. Another ambitious feature of the city is the Green River, a parkland that will span over twice the size of Central Park in New York. It is designed to serve as both a recreational area and a symbol of environmental stewardship, offering a lush oasis amidst the desert's arid landscape. The Green River is intended to be an urban escape, a place where residents can relax, recharge, and connect with nature in the heart of the city. Perhaps most intriguingly, the city is being built with cutting-edge technology, incorporating smart infrastructure that includes a network of 6,000 surveillance cameras designed to ensure both security and efficiency. The surveillance systems are part of a broader push for modernization, aiming to create a city where every corner is interconnected, every service is streamlined, and every system operates with precision. However, as the buildings rise, so too do the doubts. Some critics question whether the city's ambitious scope will ultimately be sustainable. Others wonder about the environmental impact of constructing such a sprawling metropolis in the desert. And there are those who fear that the vision might not be as grand in practice as it is on paper. Will Egypt's new administrative capital become a shining example of modern urbanism, or will it falter under the weight of its own ambition? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, the world is watching. The original budget for Egypt's new administrative capital was an eye-watering $45 billion, a monumental sum by any standard, but in the years since the project's announcement, that estimate has skyrocketed. The latest projections place the cost at over $60 billion, and it continues to rise as the construction accelerates, driven by the country's ambitious desire to rebuild its future in the heart of the desert. For Egypt, a country where more than 30% of the population lives below the poverty line, such an enormous expenditure is a risky gamble. The nation's economy is in dire straits. Inflation is at an all-time high. The Egyptian pound has lost nearly 90% of its value since 2014, and the cost of living continues to climb. From the global disruptions caused by the COVID-19 pandemic to the war in Ukraine, Egypt's economy has faced a series of brutal setbacks. Tourism, once a significant revenue stream, has been devastated by repeated lockdowns, and the ongoing conflict in Gaza only deepens the nation's instability. Despite these economic challenges, the cranes persist, lifting concrete into the sky. The towers grow taller and the vision of a new Egypt presses on. The new administrative capital is more than just a city, it's a fortress, one designed with the utmost security and protection in mind. The city, still under construction, spans a staggering 22,000 acres. To put that into perspective, it is now the largest administrative and military complex on Earth. It dwarfs the Pentagon, the epicenter of the American defense establishment in both size and scope. But why such a colossal complex? Why build something of such grand proportions in the middle of a barren desert? The answer lies within Egypt's turbulent political history. In just the past decade, Egypt has endured two revolutions that led to the ousting of its government. Both uprisings were heavily fueled by protests staged in Cairo's downtown, where the urban density and narrow streets allowed demonstrators to mobilize quickly. The government's collapse during the Arab Spring was in part due to its inability to quell protests in the capital's heart. This time, Egypt is taking no chances. The new capital is being built with sweeping wide boulevards, designed not for public engagement but for separation. High-tech surveillance systems, cameras, drones, and satellite monitoring have been embedded at every level of the city's infrastructure. Military checkpoints are strategically placed, ensuring constant oversight. The military's presence is omnipresent, ensuring that protests are not only discouraged, but impossible. Despite the grandiose plans and national pride invested in the new administrative capital, reality paints a far different picture. Initially envisioned as a vibrant, bustling metropolis, the city is instead eerily desolate. Despite the lavish apartment blocks and shiny infrastructure, only a few thousand families have managed to settle in the city. As night falls, the silence becomes deafening. Streets designed to accommodate millions remain empty, bathed in the cold glow of street lights flickering in the darkness. The gleaming new apartment buildings stand in stark contrast to their empty interiors. Shops and restaurants remain shuttered, and plazas that were supposed to host vibrant social scenes lie untouched, gathering dust. Many fear the city will soon become a white elephant, a strikingly modern urban center with no purpose, its grandeur a symbol of ambition rather than achievement. It is the embodiment of a grand vision turned hollow, a space built not for people but for a vision that struggles to find life within its walls. The promise of a city filled with the hum of bustling activity, commerce, and community remains a distant dream. Instead, it seems to exist solely as a monument to the ambition of those who conceived it. Even as the city continues to expand, the question lingers. Will the new administrative capital ever become a true home for millions, or will it remain a ghost city haunted by the lofty expectations that outgrew its reality? As Cairo continues its rapid sprawl, some analysts have raised concerns that the new administrative capital may end up creating an even larger urban mess than the one it was intended to solve. Instead of reducing the crushing congestion of Cairo, it may simply stretch the problems farther, intertwining the city with the new capital, creating an even more sprawling megacity. The intended solution might not be a new start, but rather an extension of the old, a new form of chaos disguised as progress. A mega city sprawling endlessly without purpose. Egypt has long been a nation defined by its ambition, by its ability to create wonders that awe the world. The pyramids of Giza, the temples of Luxor, the towering columns of Cleopatra's Alexandria. These monuments have withstood the test of time, standing as testaments to the power, vision, and might of ancient Egypt. These enduring symbols were not just built for their time but for the future, transcending the limitations of their eras. The new administrative capital, in many ways, is an extension of that same ambition. It is a new pyramid, not of stone but of steel and glass. It is a monument, not to gods or pharaohs, but to Egypt's place in the modern world. A statement that Egypt is still relevant, still capable of competing on the global stage. Yet, unlike the ancient monuments that were built to honor the divine or immortalize kings and queens, this city is constructed with a more pragmatic purpose, to control the chaos of modern life. It is a city not meant to honor a ruler but to manage the masses, to alleviate the pressures of a growing population, and to bring order to the urban sprawl of Cairo. But like the great empires that once rose and fell upon this land, the new administrative capital raises a timeless question. When we build for glory, who is left to bear the cost? For every grand vision that comes to fruition, there are hidden costs, the financial burden, the human displacement, the social consequences of forcing a nation to adapt to a vision that may not suit its reality. The echoes of Egypt's imperial past resonate in the construction of this city, but so too do the lessons of its ancient empires, both the triumphs and the downfalls. As of 2025, the new administrative capital remains far from the bustling metropolis it promised to be. It is still incomplete, its grand buildings standing tall amidst vast stretches of barren desert. The costs continue to rise, with the project exceeding initial budget projections by billions, leaving many to question how much more it will demand of a country already grappling with economic instability. Egypt's economy has struggled under inflation, a plummeting currency, and a series of global crises that have compounded its woes. While the government pushes forward with the development of the new capital, the reality of Egypt's financial situation raises doubts about whether this project can ever live up to its lofty aspirations. As the desert winds continue to blow through the empty streets and the cranes labor to complete yet another towering structure, the people of Egypt are left to wonder. Will this new city be the answer to their prayers? A modern wonder that will propel Egypt into the future? Or will it become a towering reminder of miscalculation? A gleaming city that never fulfilled its promise. The fate of the new administrative capital remains uncertain, but its story will undoubtedly be one for the history books. Whether it succeeds or falters, it will offer a lesson, not just for Egypt, but for every nation attempting to balance ambition with reality, progress with practical limitations. The desert, silent and expectant, holds its breath as Egypt's future unfolds. Will it be a tale of triumph or a cautionary warning for generations to come? The answer, like the city itself, is still yet to be written. Would your country build a $60 billion city in the desert just to escape the weight of history? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching this video with us, and catch you in the next one.